This video is about rights, and we're led to believe that we can just be pulled over at any time and questioned and be told what to do. You know, get out of the car, do this, do that. And I just recently saw a bunch of snowmobilers pulled over, and the officer was going through and checking all their documents and looking over these guys that were just going out and having a good time. But there's certain laws they have to follow when it comes to what they can and cannot do when it comes to detaining you and stopping you and asking you questions. So I got someone in line here that knows a lot about law and what officers can be, what officers can legally do and what they not do. And me myself being a victim of this and winning in court and understanding that there's kind of too much authority being exerted here, and we have to educate ourselves in this. Is it right that can officers just pull you over whenever they want?
First of all, a vehicle and traffic stop, or any stop, even of a civilian walking on a sidewalk, is considered a seizure under the Fourth Amendment. So, without authority, legal authority to pull you over to stop you, it's unlawful.
So
no, they just can't pull you over on a whim or an idle curiosity or a hunch that they suspect something. No, that's illegal.
Now, say for example, you're coming upon, because it's my understanding they can do a checkpoint, but if they do a checkpoint on the road, they have to have a whole administrative procedure set up, because we're not like Nazi Germany where we got to go through checkpoints to go home and walk our dog, for example. There is procedures on that, and there's supposed to be warning signs on the road, checkpoint ahead, so many feet ahead. And you told me, too, that some people actually would turn around and go the other way. Now, me growing up, I would think that, that's more of a reason to chase you down, but you were telling me that there was a case that that's actually okay for people to turn around and go the other way?
Yeah, you have a right of freedom of movement. So you have a right to avoid that checkpoint, and you have a right to turn around, pull into a driveway, back out, and go back to where you came from. You have a right to avoid that checkpoint if you feel you don't want your freedom of movement impeded. And if a police officer witnesses that and thinks that you're trying to avoid a checkpoint and he chases you down and stops you, that's illegal. There was a case out of Chautauqua, New York, county of Chautauqua, that went up on appeal, where an individual who was drinking was coming home from a bar. He saw lights flashing. He saw a checkpoint, so he didn't want to risk going through the checkpoint, so he turned around and he went back where he came from. Well, he was chased down by a state trooper or a sheriff deputy, pulled over, and at the end of he was convicted of the DWI when it went to trial, but he appealed, and on review, that decision was reversed because the appellate court determined that stop was unlawful. That officer did not observe a vehicle in traffic infraction. He simply pursued that vehicle because he witnessed it turn around, assuming that the individual was trying to avoid a checkpoint.
So that's the whole thing. They have to view an infraction, correct?
That didn't give the officer justification to stop the vehicle. So that stop was illegal, therefore the conviction for the DWI, the DUI, was thrown out.
So they have to see an infraction in order to pull you over. So if a group of snowmobilers are going down a trail and then a police officer flags you down and starts checking your registrations just off just because he wants to, would that be deemed as illegal?
I would venture to believe that is an unlawful seizure. Yes, the officer, the snowmobile or a motor vehicle on the highway or a pedestrian walking on a sidewalk has a right of freedom of movement. And without probable cause or reasonable suspicion, that officer does not have legal authority, to stop that snowmobile. So I would assume that it equally applies to snowmobiles or ATVs and the like.
The other big question is a lot of snowmobiles travel on private property, and these private property owners give permissions to clubs to allow them to use their property. So by giving them permission to use the property, and if the snowmobile is on private property, not state property, does that give the police jurisdiction, or is that kind of too vague? It's hard to know. We have to do some research on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you're on private property. The bottom line is the curtilage, meaning the surrounding area around the property. If it's the curtilage, which is the legal term or the terms that the courts use, has a protection under the Fourth Amendment. So a police officer just can't walk into someone's backyard or walk onto someone's farmland without authority.
Unless the property owner asks to do so.
Correct. You just can't. A government agent, which a police officer is the government. He's a government agent. He just can't enter someone's private property without authority.
That's interesting. But thanks for the questions. And then, is there anything more you'd like to share here about protecting rights?
Well, your rights don't come get you off the sofa. You got to go out and get them. So, keep up the good fight.